You're watching Pulse for the 23rd or 24th of January, and it's time for some World of Warcraft news. In this week's episode, we take a quick look at the Lunar Festival that recently started up on the live realms, some almost upon us Dragon Soul difficulty changes, a few other interesting patch 4.3 extras, silly stuff that female WoW players say, and more. Let's get to it. In the first of our news, the Lunar Festival returns to Azeroth yet again in a cascade of pyrotechnics. It started on Sunday, January the 22nd, and with the start of the new year, elders of generations past manifest around the world to impart their wisdom upon all who would listen. Needless to say, most don't really listen. They only stay long enough to get those coins of ancestry and then they leave. Anyway, as you know, you can trade these coins for a variety of things, including fireworks, trinkets, garbs, and recipes. Now, we have been told that the Cenarian Circle have even more cause to celebrate this year than any previous, for this year also marks the first Lunar Festival since the return of many ancients that had fallen in battles past. Goldrun, Malorn, Aviana, and Cenarius himself. I suppose one could say it's good to see these updated with the times, but it's still pretty sad. So if you want to do those achievements, battle it out against Omen in the Moonglade, or just enjoy the festivities, you better hop onto the servers right now to check it out. Or sometime before February the 12th at least. You can also, if you feel the need, head on over to Wowhead to check their Lunar Festival guide out. They've covered it all, as is the norm for Wowhead and their guides. So have a look at that, enjoy the festivities on the live servers, and most importantly, Happy Chinese New Year. No, I'm just kidding. It's not the end of the episode yet. In our next piece of news, we're going to have a talk about a recent post on the official community site. We've been told that there are some Dragon Soul difficulty changes incoming. Now, similar to the nerfs that happened in Firelands and Icecrown Citadel, it is now time for Dragon Soul to begin having its difficulty slightly adjusted. In short, what's going to happen is the Dragon Soul raid will become enveloped by the power of the Aspect spell. This will reduce the health and damage dealt of all enemies in the raid by 5%. The spell will grow progressively stronger over time to reduce the difficulty and make the encounters more accessible. So the spell will also affect both normal and heroic modes, as you probably know, but it will not affect the looking for raid difficulty. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is very unexpected and it's a lot earlier than they thought it would be, but I think the timing is right, and we have actually just been reminded by Bashiok that 5% isn't really very much. It is actually quite minor, and they expect it to be about a month or so before they raise it by another 5%. So while this first 5% change might help a couple of guilds that were barely scraping through the encounters or just barely missing them, it's probably not going to help everyone suddenly just face roll Deathwing. That's not going to happen. One very important thing that's well worth noting is that you can actually disable this buff. You can opt out of it and you can do the raid at its normal difficulty. I suppose some people out there would appreciate at least having the option. Lastly, before we move on to the next piece of news, they also said that they have their hand on the dial with this one. Blizzard are going to be deciding when to set this up and by how much, so this is not going to help us in any way predict when Mists of Pandaria is coming out. Oh well, you can read all about this below, and you can read all the blue responses to all the issues that people had with this. Yes, Bashiok has been pretty busy on the forums, so check that out below. Next up, a semi-quick mention about patch 4.3.2. So we've been told that this patch will be Cataclysm's last content patch. There won't be any extra content for Cataclysm before Mists of Pandaria, so that means anyone betting on something like a Ruby Sanctum style encounter coming anytime soon should probably not put any money on it. This little snippet of information came from a David Kosak interview that was done recently with videogamer.com. If you are at all interested in World of Warcraft and trying to keep up with the news that's going around, then you should probably give this one a read. He covers what he thinks were the successes and failures of patch 4.3, what he most enjoyed working on, and much more. There are also one or two brief mentions of Mists of Pandaria in there, so I suppose that alone could make it worth your time. Check it out below and enjoy. Now, in pretty much the only piece of community-based news, we've got stuff that girl WoW players say by Trade Chat. And yes, I'm well aware that that's not actually the name of the video, but I'm trying to keep this PG. I suppose I could have used a boop for that. But anyway, on that note, the video is also definitely not PG. If you didn't know, a lot of people are doing this type of video right now. It seems to be a trending topic, but this one is actually pretty good, and I would say pretty accurate as well. I have actually encountered some of these types of girls before, and yes, I'm saying it like they're some sort of foreign object, and they really are. So if you want to see all those stereotypical WoW girls in action, then this is the video for you. And yes, you've even got people asking them for nude pics. So it is pretty much exactly how it goes down. Again though, check that out right here on YouTube, and with that done, let's move on to the World of Warcraft Smalls. First up, check out a couple of art gallery updates over at the official site, then read about the Activision Blizzard Q4 2011 conference call. That's actually happening on the 9th of February, so you can give that a listen if you're around. Read how Christina Sims is now working at Cryptozoic. You may remember Christina Sims as the amazing cosplayer from BlizzCon. Yes, she did the female monk, and I think she also did an Alexstrasza and a paladin. Then next up, Blizzard are seeking in-game ad gurus. Read about this via Rock Paper Shotgun. Read about the new mounts and loot coming in Crown of the Heavens. That's the next trading card game expansion that's coming up soon. Over at MMO Champion, there are 2 more Mists of Pandaria recaps, one for PvP and one for the Monk class, and there are a couple of statistics to have a look at, these relating to Rated Battlegrounds class balance. Over at WoW Insider, you can read about a 70-year-old raid-leading, legendary-wielding grandmother playing World of Warcraft. That is pretty epic. Right here on YouTube, you can watch the latest Curse Weekly Roundup and have a look at a video called Looking for Raid Summed Up in 30 Seconds by WoW Crendor. Pretty funny stuff. Sadly, that's all I have for you in the World of Warcraft news this week. Check back here soon for more. Remember to like the video, favorite it, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Most importantly though, happy Lunar Festival.